Friday's Russell rebalance might also stoke more volatility in frightened stock market. New York investors inside the volatile U.S. inventory marketplace are making ready for what can be one of the heaviest buying and selling days of the year on Friday, as FTSE Russell completes the rebalancing of indexes which can be tracked by using trillions of dollars in investor budget. FTSE Russell refreshes the components of its indexes as soon as a year in past due June to higher reflect broader markets. This spurs fund managers who've benchmarked their performance to the indexes to convey their own portfolios in step with the adjustments. Some $12 trillion is benchmarked to Russell's U.S. indexes. The ensuing shopping for and selling tends to top on the close of the buying and selling session earlier than the reconstitution is very last, and some buyers are searching for to exchange on any fee dislocations that may result. Total trading volume at the day of the 2021 reconstitution topped 16 billion shares, placing it among ultimate year's busiest sessions. While beyond rebalancings have typically long passed off without a hitch, some buyers stated the event is more likely to exacerbate volatility this year, after concerns over a more hawkish Federal Reserve have slammed shares and bonds and ramped up market gyrations in recent weeks. The benchmark S&P 500 has fallen extra than 21% year to date, as the Fed tightens financial policy to tame soaring inflation. The Federal Reserve is hiking interest quotes. We're seeing liquidity dry up, and while there may be sufficient cash within the equity marketplace, without a doubt with negative sentiment it's miles going to be a harder story to get that rebalancing finished, said Rob Hayworth, senior funding strategist at U.S. Bank Wealth Management in Seattle. One of this year's biggest adjustments will see Meta Platforms, previously Facebook, Nasdaq, Meta, pass to the Russell 1000 price index. Usually the domain of companies seem to be buying and selling at a reduction to their fundamentals. At the equal time, power stocks will receive a greater weighting inside the Russell 1000 increase index, after a blistering rally over the past year. Meta's move to the Russell 1000 fee index follows a more than 50% tumble within the social media massive stocks this year on business enterprise warnings of faltering revenues after a decade of livid growth. The trade will cause the weighting of the communication offerings region inside the Russell 1000 Growth Index to drop to 8% from 9.9%, at the same time as bolstering the arena's weight within the Russell 1000 Fee Index to 8.7% from 6.9%, in step with Jefferies. Meanwhile, the stellar overall performance of the power quarter will result in a heavier weighting of electricity stocks in the Russell growth indexes, Jefferies stated. The strength zone, which has climbed almost 40% because the final year's reconstitution way to a sharp upward thrust in crude expenses, will see its weighting boom to 1.7% within the Russell 1000 Boom Index, from 0.6%. The move is even extra stated inside the Russell Midcap Growth Index, with electricity taking a 5.1% weighting, up from 3.3%. Growth managers that have no longer had to take note of energy for numerous years, now must be aware of the sector, said Steve Desinctis, equity strategist at Jefferies in New York. Given the quantity of the buying and selling and quantity of stocks worried, FTSE Russell takes steps to be transparent regarding the rules for inclusion. This starts off evolved in May on its rank day, which determines the market capitalization bands a inventory ought to be within for inclusion. Subsequent steps encompass initial lists of the additions and deletions from the indexes. We don't want to make unnecessary changes. Any technique modifications are thoughtful, stated Catherine Yoshimoto, Director of Product Management for the Russell U.S. indexes at FTSE Russell. We are looking at where there may be destiny upgrades, however the goal is clearly to maintain it stable.